Let's learn with English Family.
Hello. My name is Adam. And today I want to tell you a story that changed my whole life. It's a story about fear, courage, and the power of words. And if you stay with me until the end, I promise you will carry something important in your heart too. It began many years ago, on a cold winter morning in my small town. The streets were almost empty. The shops were still closed. And the sky was covered with heavy gray clouds. I walked slowly, my bag heavy on my back. But what felt heavier than the bag was my heart. At that time, I was a quiet boy. I didn't believe in myself. I thought my words didn't matter. And my dreams were too small. I stayed silent most of the time, hoping nobody would notice me. But something unusual happened that day. As I turned the corner, I saw an old man sitting near a wooden box filled with books. They were old books, some without covers, some with torn pages. But he sat proudly beside them, his white beard glowing under the weak winter light. He looked at me and smiled warmly. "Good morning, young man," he said. "Would you like a book?" I shook my head quickly. "No, I don't have money," I whispered. He laughed softly and said something I will never forget. "Some books don't ask for money. They ask for a reader with a brave heart." Before I could reply, he placed a small book with no cover on top of my bag. "Take it," he said. "One day, you will understand." All day in school, I couldn't stop thinking about the book. And that night, under my blanket with a small flashlight, I opened it. Inside was the story of a boy. A boy who thought he was weak. A boy who stayed silent because he believed his voice had no value. But step by step, he discovered that he was wrong. He discovered that his words could change lives. As I read, I felt like the book was speaking directly to me. It was my story. Every page whispered, "Adam, you are stronger than you think." The next morning, I walked to school differently. I lifted my head. I smiled at people. And for the first time in my life, I raised my hand in class. My voice was shaking, but I spoke. And when the teacher smiled and said, "Well done, Adam," I felt something powerful awaken inside me. That was the beginning. Days turned into weeks. I kept reading the book. Sometimes the same pages again and again. Each time I read it, I discovered a new meaning, a new lesson. I started answering more questions in class. I joined a small group for school debates. The first time I stood on stage, my legs trembled so badly I thought I would fall. But I remembered the book's lesson. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is speaking even when your voice shakes. So I spoke. And with every word, my voice grew stronger. Years passed, and I became one of the most confident students in my school. Teachers trusted me to lead presentations. Friends came to me for advice. And one day, I was chosen to give a speech in front of the whole school during an event. I will never forget that day. The hall was full of students, teachers, and even parents. I stood on the stage with the microphone in my hand. For a moment, fear tried to return. But then I remembered the old man. His kind eyes. His words about bravery. I spoke about courage. About believing in yourself. And about the power of even the smallest voice. When I finished, the room filled with applause. Some students even had tears in their eyes. That was the moment I truly understood. My voice mattered. But the story doesn't end there. Years later, when I was in college, something surprising happened. One rainy afternoon, I passed by the same street corner from my childhood. And there he was, the old man. His beard was whiter, his back a little more bent, but his smile was the same. I couldn't believe my eyes. I ran to him and said, "Do you remember me?" He looked at me for a moment, then smiled. "You are the boy who took the little book," he said softly. Tears filled my eyes. "Yes. That book changed my life. It gave me courage. Because of it, I am not the same Adam anymore." The old man nodded, his eyes shining. "That is what books do," he said. "But remember, it was not only the book. It was you. You chose to believe. You chose to be brave." I wanted to thank him more, but he simply handed me another book from his box. This time, it had a cover. The title was The Power of Giving. He said, "Take this one too. When you are ready, you will pass its lesson to others." I left that day with tears on my cheeks and a fire in my heart. Now, many years later, I tell this story to you because I believe someone listening right now might be like the boy I once was. Quiet, unsure, afraid. If that's you, hear me. You are stronger than you think. Your story matters. Your words can touch lives. Sometimes, all it takes is one book, one person, or one moment to remind you of your power. And sometimes, all it takes is one step, just one brave step, to change the path of your entire life. My journey doesn't end here. There are lessons I learned, challenges I faced, and moments of courage that shaped the person I am today. And in the next episodes, I will share them all with you. The struggles, the triumphs, and the little sparks of hope that kept me moving forward. If you've ever doubted yourself, felt small, or wondered if your voice matters, these stories are for you. So stay with me. Keep watching. Each episode is a step, just like that first brave step I took long ago. And I promise, by the end, you will see how one small choice can change everything.
Let's learn with English family.